and welcome back to Music Theater Sound Lab, where we talk about all facets of writing and producing great theater music like a music producer. I'm Joanna Burns. I'm a composer, singer-songwriter, and sometime actor, full-time lover of mochi buttercake, Disney's Pepper Ann, and artist Pedro Campos. Today we're talking about something I find very fascinating, the great organizer of musical time, downbeats. What even are they? And how do we feel them, find them, and mark them into our Logic sessions? For anyone watching and wondering what I mean by downbeats, let's clarify the term for this context. Drummers usually refer to downbeats as any numbered beat, rather than the subdivisions that fall between those beats, which they would then call upbeats. For our purposes, though, I'm talking more in orchestral terms, where the downbeat is the first beat of any measure of music. For my money, finding the downbeats, the ones, can help you organize your music visually, as I like to think of it, whether that's in your DAW or on paper. You know, as a kid taking piano lessons, I always played by ear and attempted to trick my poor patient teacher into thinking I had practiced the sheet music and memorized it, when really I'd ask her to play it for me and then quickly recreate it by ear because I had no idea how the music was organized on paper. It made no sense to me. I honestly did not understand any of that until my first year of college during an oral skills class, which was supposed to be about learning how to listen, but for me became about learning how to read by listening. I say this because once it clicked for me, it became a physical experience. So I'm hoping that by explaining it that way here to all of you, maybe that could help someone. So to take this rather abstract thing and turn it into something more concrete, I want to use a couple songs from my Flophouse project as examples. And if you've been hanging around the Sound Lab for a while, you probably already know. But if you're new here, the technically untitled Flophouse project is a stage show in progress that I'm writing in collaboration with Justin Anthony Long and Joël René Scoville, me on music and them on a shared combination of book and lyrics. First, let's look at how we'll approach this in sort of an itemized way. Number 1, move your body. Number 2, count along with the music. Number 3, listen to melodic phrasing. Number 4, listen to the chord progression. Okay, let's hop into Logic Pro. In our song Firefly, let's do each of these things. Oh, Firefly, close your eyes, flicker right through the dreams in your head. Okay, now I'll start by saying 1 where my hand keeps bobbing downward, and then we'll keep counting from there. For the new day ahead. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's alright, I'll be. Now I'll take the melody also into account to further validate what I'm feeling. Firefly, say goodnight. It's alright, I'll be here by your bed. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that there are some sort of peak moments of melody that keep falling on these stronger beats where I'm moving my hand downward or rocking with my body. So this melody starts on what pretty clearly feels to be the 1, but it has some gaps in the subsequent phrases. So if I wasn't sure, I could listen to the accompaniment and chord progression too. Chord progressions often emphasize the downbeat of a measure with the tonic. Now, definitely not always, but often. The tonic chord is the chord built off of the note of the key that the song is in. So if it's in C, like in this case, our tonic chord is C major. I'm going to mute the melody and we're just going to listen to the chord progression. Same spot. Tonic. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. Okay, in case you hadn't noticed by now, this song is in 3/4. 3 beats for every measure of music that goes by. Case solved. But there are a couple spots where it seems like something happens and then there's either more or less than 3 beats. Something is different, so let's check one of those spots out. Seems to be right around here-ish. Right there, something is happening. So right there, if I just keep moving to my 3/4 vibe, it doesn't line up anymore. This is something called mixed meter. Ooh la la. So what that means is that it doesn't always have the same number of beats in every measure. In my particular case, I wrote it this way in order to eliminate some predictable space that would have happened after the word wish, which is the lyric that falls there. Also, just to keep with the folky style of what was happening. A lot of folk uses mixed meter to kind of bend around the shape of the lyrics rather than just stick to the symmetry of the accompaniment. Okay, so great, a different number of beats, but how many? Well, we're going to start by counting the usual groups of 3, and then we'll just kind of see how much extra stuff we have to account for. So starting at the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Uh-oh. Let's count that one more time. Okay, so if I stick to the 3s, just keep counting those 3s, by the time I get to this recurring pattern, what used to be a 1 is now a 3. No bueno. So I'll use that spot as my guardrail. That beat has to be a 1 by the time I get there in order to know that I've been counting correctly. So just math alone, it feels like there's apparently 2 extra somethings, because instead of landing on 1 by the time I get to my usual pattern, I'm on a 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. I've got 2 extra beats floating around somewhere. Let's put the lyrics back in. Same spot. Tonight you're still my little man, who I will love long as I can. Oh Firefly, here's a kiss, make a wish for the new. It seems like wish is an important thing. What if that is a 1? That would mean that there's a measure in there with only 2 beats. Tonight you're still my little man, who I will love long as I can. Oh Firefly, here's a kiss, make a wish for the new day ahead. Firefly. We made it! Solved again. So I've got a couple of choices here of how I want to identify what's happening. Yes, it's mixed meter, but I can either say that there's a random measure of 2 thrown in there, as in a measure with just 2 beats instead of 3, or I could say that one of the measures has 5 beats in it. Both could be correct here, and both will get you where you want to go, because in Logic, mostly we just want to hear the metronome accents on the 1s, and we want to see those downbeats represented with a bolder line on the grid, something like this. A bolder line as in these lines that appear here. If I were to zoom in, those lines get more and more subdivided, but the bold lines show the big beats, in this case the 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, we want to hear those accents on the 1s, we want to see those downbeats, and that's what I care about here, rather than for the purpose of being super technical from like a notation perspective, let's say. Speaking of, let's take a minute to mark these things in. Mine are actually already marked in, but I'll show you how to do that. Depending on what settings that you have enabled, some of these things may or may not be visible, but I've got a simple piano and vocal session template that actually you can download for free by clicking in the description below. All right, so just let's remember that right from the beginning, this was in 3/4. So I'm gonna go ahead and access my global tracks. If you don't see the tempo or time signature or marker or arrangement, whatever you need, if you don't see that, you can go up to track and go to global tracks and just choose which one that you want to see. So everything's visible in mine, and that's great. Let me look at my beginning, and in the very beginning I can double click on this and that will allow me to change my meter. So in this case 3/4. Okay, good. And let me zoom out. And if I look over here, there's my measure in question. Double click. And depending on where I want to change it, I would just go to my bar line that I need to change. And if I want to add a change, I can hit signature and I hit that plus sign. Don't need that. But if I did, that's where I'd go. And so there's only one measure that does that. And it's this one right here, measure 41. So then I go right back to 3/4 and I can mark that, and I did right there. Fantastic. So I'm going to mute everything except my click because I want to hear how my click is now functioning in terms of this new meter that I've marked in. Let's hear that. Here it comes. Great. So now when I play back my click, there's always an accent on the one, the downbeat of each measure, and it'll help me stay aware of kind of any atypical changes. And the cool part is that it'll help guide any other players that I may end up bringing in to contribute to the track. And one of my favorite parts is actually if I go to export this MIDI for notation, my meter changes will be marked in where they belong as well. So again, if you're not super clear on where your downbeats are falling, I'd recommend giving these things a go. Move your body, count along with the music, listen to melodic phrasing, and listen to the chord progression. Then once you know where you are, mark them into your song to help keep your eyes and your ears organized. I know that, like for me, that helps out immensely. While we're here, I actually want to show you the middle of this song, just because I just really like the way it sounds, and I hope you like it too. Firefly, Mama, I'm sorry. Say goodnight, Mama, I miss you. It's alright, Mama, I'm lonely by your bed. I'm scared. Firefly, Mama, I love you. Close your eyes. I need liquor rum. I'm tired of the dreams in your head. And even though I know one day that you'll go and fly away, tonight you're still my little man, who I will love long as I can. Oh, Firefly, here's a kiss, make a wish for the new day So again, if you're not super clear on where your downbeats are falling, I'd recommend giving these few things a go. And if you want to grab my piano vocal template, complete with stock vocal and mastering plugins, go to musictheatersoundlab.com, that's theater with an R-E, /PV template. You can grab it right there to help make life just a little bit easier. Anyway, I hope that any of that could be helpful to you. Please feel free to chime in with any questions or perspectives in the comments below. And as always, if you're not already part of the tribe, hit that subscribe button for more insights into the intersection of musical theater, music production, and songwriting. I'll see you soon.